Are you guys always astonished? You get to the end of the month and you realize, feckin' hell, where is my money gone? You really try and save, but it just disappears between your fingertips. I have recently done a video on this, on how we're losing money without we're even realizing it. And this is part 2, okay? If you want to be better with your money, listen to these tips and find out if any of these things are happening to you. And if they are, how to negate them and actually save that money rather than it being escaping from your fingers. The first thing is neglecting preventative maintenance. So, right, if you have a car or you own a house or something like that, more likely than not, you will need to have maintenance on those things, because a car can break down if you don't, regularly look after it, do checks, do the oil checks, fill up the tires, things like that. Same with a home. If you don't bring a plumber around, if there's a small drip, it could, lead into something very disastrous. So if you negate very small maintenance things like there's low air in your tires, and if you don't do anything about it, it will eventually become a flat tire and a more expensive fix. So a way to prevent, these big bills that just keep appearing is to look after the small stuff, and the bigger stuff will look after itself. So take care of very small maintenance so that you don't have to pay a big bill suddenly. What I like to do is to do something called sinking funds. And what this is every month I will put about £50 into my maintenance for my home here. And recently I had to have a plumber come round for a very small drip, but it still cost me £150 of his time to come round. However, because I had a good few months of this maintenance sinking fund there, I was able to take it out, and it wasn't a surprise bill because I'd already planned for it. I personally have a maintenance fund for maintenance of the house. I don't have a car, so I don't need one of those. I also have a sinking fund for holidays. I'm from Ireland originally, so every now and again I will go back to Ireland, so I know that cost is going to come. So I don't, have it as a big surprise cost. I kind of plan for it in advance. I also have an investment pot of money because I may want to buy another house in the future, on the cards hopefully. And I of course have my current account and my normal savings account with my emergency fund in it. So how many sinking funds do you guys have? How many accounts do you guys have? Let me know down below, I'm curious. The second way that you could be losing money without even realizing it is having unused gift cards at home. Whether you got it as a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, if you don't use it, you're kind of losing money there. Let's say you got £50 as a book voucher and it expires in 12 months. If you forget to completely use it, you've pretty much lost £50 there of a book of value. But this can also be things like rewards. So I personally use Quidco, which is like a cashback app and website, right? So anytime I need to buy stuff for the flat here, like let's say a new table or like a ladder or something random for maintenance, right? I would go through Quidco and they would give me cash back, like maybe it might be 5% on my purchase, okay? And I do this every time I need to buy something that's of a decent size of value. And at the moment, I have about £110 just sitting in the Quidco account there. That's money that I've received as cash back. Now, if I would have gone straight to Argos or straight to a DIY store and not gone through Quidco, I wouldn't have had that £110. So it's a kind of way to utilize something that you're already going to buy and just see if you can get money back off it. We love a bit of money back here. So check out Quidco if you're not on it. This is not a sponsorship or anything. I genuinely use it, and I think it's really useful to get money for free. The third thing is emotional spending. So when you're really stressed at work, do you immediately go and buy something when you're stressed? This happened to me. I remember in my last job, I had to do this really big presentation for the feckin' CEO, and I was so stressed about it for months. And when it finally came around, it went okay, but I got so drilled by the directors that were in there with all of their questions. I just felt really low and crap, with myself, that I didn't do the best job that I could, even though it kind of went well, I was just being hard on myself. So after that meeting, it was about lunchtime, and I immediately ran to the closest shoe shop and bought a pair of £65 shoes, which I still have and I still really like, but I immediately just bought something to make myself feel better. Have you ever been in that situation? It can be really easy to fall into this, especially if you're someone who's a little bit emotional, or someone who's a little bit sensitive. Like, I'd put my hand up and say, yeah, I'm that kind of person. So it's something that I personally have to work on, because I know that spending money is not actually going to make me feel better, because you'll go into this weird guilt cycle and having to keep buying stuff to get happiness. And that's not ever a good place to be, because you shouldn't, link happiness with a materialistic item. I read a quote recently that said, happiness is results without expectation. So for example, if you just bought your first property, yes, you should be absolutely thrilled and ecstatic that you've achieved that result of buying a home, but you shouldn't say to yourself, hey, I'll now be truly happy because I bought a home. And if you're not happy, that could, spiral into some darkness there if you've linked it to a happiness. So you have to be happy within yourself first and not link it to a certain thing. Does anyone else struggle with this emotional spending spiral of when you're stressed, you're bored, or you're sad that you just buy something, whether it's a t-shirt or a lipstick or even just a pair of shoes? Let me know down below what you guys bought when you were actually super stressed. The fourth thing that people lose money without even realizing it is brand loyalty without comparison. So let's say, without fail, you love Dove, the brand, right? And you've been buying their shower gel for years because, you like their purpose, you like their marketing, you like the clean packaging on the outside, right? I'm one of those people, I used to love Dove, right? However, I recently noticed the price of feckin' shower gel of Dove has gone up like threefold. It used to be like £2 for a big bottle of shower gel, and now recently I went into Tesco and it was £5.20 for the exact same bottle and the exact same shop I used to buy it in a couple of years ago. Now, of course, inflation can come into play at any time in any country. The fact that it had gone up so much, it makes me really think, hey, if I was so loyal to this brand, I would just pay that and not even think twice about it, and I would be losing so much more money but not gaining anything in return. So you really have to question the things that you automatically buy, whether it's that Colgate toothpaste, that Dove shower gel, or that Kellogg's cornflakes. Has the price massively spiked over time, or do you feel like you could get the same quality elsewhere for cheaper? A lot of the times the own label brands are actually doing a pretty good job of things, things like cornflakes. When you look at the back of the box and the ingredients are pretty much the same on an own label versus a brand like Kellogg's, but you're paying so much higher for a brand there because of the marketing. So do you fall for these marketing tricks? And if so, maybe you can get a cheaper alternative elsewhere for the same thing. The next tip then is overpaying for convenience. Do you do this? I know that I do, and I'm trying to get better at it, right? But as I said, there's a Tesco Express around the corner, and Tesco Express is basically a smaller convenience store that is from the Tesco Superstore brand. But the prices in a Tesco Express are always going to be more expensive because they're usually in cities, have higher rents, and they charge a premium for convenience because it's like right around the corner. But this can also be things like express shipping, like food delivery, or if you're buying pre-cut vegetables rather than just the actual whole vegetable, you're paying for convenience there. So the next time you go into a shop and you see a full onion for 60p and then you see a bag of chopped onions for £3, maybe consider buying the cheaper option. There's nothing wrong spending an extra 60 seconds chopping up your own onion there rather than, spending so much more on an item that's just pure convenience. Same with food deliveries. If you literally live around the corner from your favorite Chinese and you really deserve and want a takeaway, okay, that's a whole other story, right? But maybe walk and save that £4 delivery charge rather than being charged that every time, okay? It's about these little things that you can change. Yes, you can still have a nice takeaway if you feel like you deserve it and it's in your budget and you just bloody want a takeaway, right? But maybe there's little changes that you can make so that you're not losing out on money there. That's a bit silly. Now, the next tip I've been stung by recently, and it still makes me angry / very sad, right? And it's forgetting to cancel free trials, right? Now, I think I shared this in a previous video. For anyone who hasn't seen it, I was recently signed up to, I think, Skillshare via a YouTuber. I just clicked on a free trial, and Skillshare is amazing. Like, no, shade to them. I'll probably hopefully work with them in the future because I think it's a great platform. But it was my fault. I forgot to cancel the feckin' free trial. And then when I emailed them to, cancel it, they wouldn't let me cancel it. And of course, I got charged the full annual fee, which was about £80. Now, I just very naively signed up to a free link and just presumed I'd remember to cancel it. So has this ever happened to you guys? Have you signed up for something thinking it would be free and then you actually had to pay a shed load of money? The next tip is not negotiating on bills. So if you're someone who has, Sky, for example, on their TV, or you have a pretty high utility bill compared to someone else that you should really be calling up that company and negotiating your bill, especially if you've been with them for many, many years, right? So someone like Sky, there's lots of templates out there that you can follow a script to get your prices pretty much half the price on a Sky subscription. But same with a utility bill. If you've been with the same company for, let's say, 3 years or something, you can call them up and negotiate and say, hey, I'm going to move to a different provider unless you can give me some sort of deal. And 9 times out of 10, they will give you a discount. So don't just stay with companies just out of pure loyalty and just because, you've been with them for so long. Definitely shop around and do comparison websites to see what deals you can get for a better rate. The next tip is also a very silly one, but it happens to us. It's parking or traffic violation tickets. Okay, we've all been there where we get a random feckin' parking ticket, but that's just such a waste of money that you're throwing down the drain. Or let's say you've gone through a toll on a road, and in Ireland in particular, they have these e-tolls where you have to pay, pretty much, I think it's 48 hours after you've been through a toll, and they don't, deal with cash physically physically in that toll. So there's been so many times when I've gone to Ireland, rented a car, driven down this road, completely forgotten that I've driven through a toll because it's not, you're not exchanging cash in person. I just forget to go online and pay the toll. And sometimes they will give you a fee if you're, completely forget it for ages. And sometimes you get given a fine, So it's little things like this. A way to counteract this is to literally just put a reminder in your calendar as soon as before you get into the car. Or maybe if you're going to get a parking ticket somewhere, don't risk yourself and park there, A lot of the time it's us just being silly or being lazy, and we park somewhere, and we're like, we'll be really quick, it'll be fine, and then we get a parking ticket. So just don't be silly. Be very cautious with your money. Think about the money that you're wasting there. Do you really want to throw like 40, 50 pounds down the drain on a fine that you got for just being silly? So really rein it in and treat your money right, and you can use that money in a better way in the future. I'll pop this video here, which I think will really help you in your financial journey. Thanks guys. I tend to post 2 videos a week, and if you're curious on more bits and bobs, feel free to subscribe. That'd really help me out. Okay, thanks. Bye.